good evening, everyone. I can't tell you how glad I am to be here in person. I've missed you all. But tonight we're going to be discussing the history and uses of the besom, as well as crafting and decorating a small besom for our Yule altar. There is a blessing. I don't know that we'll have time to do the blessing, and I forgot to send it to Birch to put it in the PowerPoint, but I sent it, and by the time the video gets posted, the blessing will be there, so you'll know what you need and what to do to bless the besoms. The word besom, next slide, please. The word besom is derived from the Old English besma, which means broom. Besoms, brooms have been useful tools since early civilization. They probably started out as just a bunch of branches with leaves or twigs, and but eventually tying them together with vines or rope, and eventually adding a handle is what gave birth to the modern day besom. And of course, witches have been using besoms for as long as there have been witches. That's probably why the besom is called a witch broom, or a witch's broom, but a witch broom. Broom squires, professional broom makers, would use specific native plants and trees in their general area. For example, in Germanic lands, where quite possibly it began, they would, I can't look away. In Germanic lands, the tradition was to bind a bundle of birch twigs with willow wands around an ash branch. And there's, specific reasons why they used each of those materials, and I don't know what it was, but I know that it was. And of course, the bundles could also be made from broom plant, heather, forsythia, hawthorn, and pussy willow. And the branches of local hardwood trees would be used as handles. Just one word of caution: never use an elder tree for a witch's broom. Next slide, please. Well, the elder is the lady's tree, and it is to be honored and respected always. So you don't want to use it for any other purposes than that. In olden days, besoms and brooms, were basically the same thing. The word was interchangeable. In modern times, however, a besom is typically refers to a broom with a long handle and a round brush. They're usually made of natural materials and often handcrafted. This broom is my first besom ever crafted. I crafted it right here in this room. I think it was in 2015 when it was the first year we were doing the witches dance.
Those were our dancing brooms.
And I love it.
It's awesome.
And one of my 7 cats, Ash, I have to put this way up high on the wall because he just loves this broom. Just so you know, it is traditionally proper to have your broom brush up rather than brush down. Brush down has purposes, means, but generally you want to store your broom bristles up. All right. These brooms are the types of brooms often used by witches strictly for ritual and or magical workings. Now, the general term broom is the default for one that is manufactured and uses a variety of different materials. It's usually clamped or stamped, and it's usually flat rather than round. Flat, it turns out, is more efficient for actual physical sweeping. And these brooms are used worldwide just for that mundane chore of sweeping. When, needless to say, you don't really need a separate broom or besom. You know, let's face it, in olden days, resources were limited. Most people didn't have the abundance that we are used to today. They had one broom, they used it for everything, just like they had one robe. It was ceremonial and every day. So you don't have to go crazy and be special, but most witches do. Next slide, please. There are several magical uses for the besom, but its primary purpose is for purification. Witches use brooms to physically sweep away dirt and debris, as well as besoms to magically sweep away negative energy. Of course, as I said, you don't need separate tools. But again, many witches do use separate tools. In addition to purification, besoms are used for protection, warding off, and or luck and drawing in. Shake a broom over your head while circling with your shins to ward away a coming storm. Do the same thing. Dip your besom in water, shake it overhead as to simulate rain, circling no seal to bring necessary rain. You know, especially in those days, everybody was into agriculture. If you had a drought, you want to start shaking your broom.
We should include that Widdershins one in the hurricane protection review.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need that.
The besoms can also function as a wand. So if you're doing something and you need to bring something in, you can use the besom as a wand and just direct all of your positive and desires right into your house. It's often used in hand fasting. As you know, jumping the broom is for luck, fertility, and prosperity. And once you jump the broom, the deal is sealed. As we just mentioned, the besom is definitely an instrument of fertility. It is considered not bisexual, ambisexual. It is both masculine, the handle being rather phallic, and the bundle of material that you use is called the bush. The handle is inserted into the bush to kind of represent the great ritual, great rite. Lore has it that if you put a broom under the bridal bed for fertility, or you should put a broom under the bridal bed for fertility. And if a maiden walks over a broom, she will be a mother before she is a wife. Just remember that.
That's what happened.
Many times.
Anyways.
Many times. An interesting fact that I came across is centuries ago, a slang term for a dildo was a broomstick. And of course, we've all heard about riding the broomstick, which really basically means to have intercourse. In some traditions, the besom sat atop the maypole that everybody would dance around on May Day to ensure the fertility of the unions that would, be brought together by that day. Next one. And of course, there's the flying thing. The earliest depiction of a witch flying on a besom dates back to about the 13th century. It's a mural in a German cathedral. I can't pronounce the name. It's Schleswig, something like that. And it is of the goddess Frigga. During the witch trials, many accused witches confessed to flying on their besoms, usually to attend Sabbath rituals. However, surprisingly, the first person known to actually confess to flying on a besom was a man. And he was an Augustinian priest, Guillaume Edelin. He was prior to the Saint Germain en Laye church. He was arrested because he was kind of like telling people witches aren't bad and whatnot, and the church didn't really like that, so they nabbed him. He was evidently conspiring with witches and whatnot, and he confessed to actually riding the broomstick as well. While there's no real evidence of witches actually physically flying, there is some relative truth. It turns out that it was common practice in many covens and whatnot for a witch to rub the handle of a besom with an ointment containing ergot. Ergot is a mold usually found on rye. Back then, most of the breads were used rye flour, and if it wasn't consumed quickly, they didn't have refrigeration and preservatives, so it was common for the breads to get moldy, and people would consume it, and it's highly psychedelic, hallucinogenic, and it can be quite lethal if ingested in large, doses. However, when it's absorbed through the skin or the thin tissues of the female genitals, the hallucinogenic effects were much more pronounced with much less ill effects. So the modern image of a witch riding a broomstick was probably inspired by some bystander who witnessed some woman rubbing herself on the drug-coated stick of her besom, writhing in the throes of hallucination, and quite possibly some pleasures as well.
She was riding the broom.
She was riding the broomstick. Evidently, men are less susceptible to the transdermal effects, but not immune, which is why people tend to think that only women are witches. We know that's not the case.
Ask August.
It turns out not only the witches experimented with the hallucinogens. They eventually, as they became more aware of what was causing this, there's records indicate that from the 14th to 17th century, Europeans often suffered from an affliction known as dancing mania. These would be groups of people dancing through the streets, often foaming at the mouth and speaking nonsense until they collapsed from exhaustion. Those who experienced mania would later describe the wild visions they had. And it turns out that they were going to witches and getting salves and bombs and having parties. And basically getting high, using their ointment-laden broomsticks to get high. They were using basically fly. Surprisingly, later in the 20th century, a scientist known as Albert Abbey Hoffman was studying ergot, however you pronounce it, and its history, and eventually his studying of that is what led to the discovery of LSD. There are a myriad of superstitions and lore, many of which are still alive today. So we'll talk about some of those as we get crafting. I can read some of these to you while we start working on creating our brooms. We have, these are cinnamon broom bushes, cinnamon bushes. We have a lovely, and since it's Yule, I thought the green was perfect for the Yule. You're going to insert the handle into the bush. It also has a wire, which if you find a charm, you can fix it to the top if you want, like that. We have raffia ribbons in the Yule colors, and there's all kinds of charms here. You can fix them with the wire. You can, we'll plug in the glue guns and get them hot. You can glue them on. You can use the raffias to decorate them however you'd like. And when we're done, we have oils, which you want to anoint your broom with an oil, keeping in Yule, since this is for Yule. We have frankincense, myrrh, peppermint, and cinnamon. So you can mix and match, or pick one, however you want to anoint your broom. So, okay, you plug all of these in, and you can start going through everything and finding what you like. I should have plugged them in at break.
Let me go put my stuff away.
Does anybody at home have any questions or comments?
I'm enjoying the history in the background. Thank you.
Maybe we'll open these up like this so people can see.
Kind of made me wonder if that has a connection to what's called flying oil.
That is.
Yeah,
what it is.
that's what they call it, flying
Yeah.
oil.
Okay.
Flying oil.
Yeah.
There's a good recipe in Kobe Michael's new book.
Oh, yeah?
Got it right there in the living room.
Spread out, spread out.
So here, all this time, all we had to do was make our sourdough out of rye flour.
That's it, that's
Off we
all.
go. Off we go.
Just don't eat it.
It is, I mean, it's so cute.
I'm smells so good.
No, they've been in my room.
Oh my goodness. It smells divine. Smells good. Oh,
Sí, un gato.
oh, here.
Really gonna go with that.
Do it or left it here.
I know, right? All right.
It's got the bush. It's got the shaft.
Yeah, let me picture that.
Well, come on
I
over.
don't need any more kids around the house, so.
Don't put it under your breath.
I'm gonna have abundance. I need a green type of abundance.
Oh, and these bushes have a little string, so you could hang them on the tree as an ornament if you want it as well. Or on your wall.
I love these bells. I know.
Nice to smell it.
Yeah.
And fireball.
Yep. So, yeah, I thought with the point that makes it a lot easier.
If you need a picture for your Christmas cards, this is what.
That's funny.
That's great.
Nice.
It's perfect.
Perfect. Panda.
Sorry.
Yes.
You got a picture of you.
Nice.
In your mask.
Nice.
Can you see without your glasses on?
Kind of, sort of, but not really.
That's now you know how Birch feels when she's trying to do a ritual like that.
These things are just.
Now, these are,
really-
I broke my glasses.
Yeah,
these are both the.
So I can't hardly see.
Get where I can.
I'm still squinting with my glasses
But
on.
it took me like 2 hours to find them, because of course, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't have any glasses. One charm? Like, I know they're ours.
All right, so
It's awful.
while you guys are doing that, some of the broom magic and lore. Hide your brooms on Walpurgis night.
Well, it's Purgus night.
Well, lest another witch come along and use it to fly to the Sabbath.
Oh.
Just
Leave you hanging.
Yes,
Right?
hang a cinnamon broom above the door during the autumn season to keep away bad luck and welcome prosperity. If your broomstick falls over, company's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Jump in, as we discussed, jumping over a broom signified marital unions in the Old South and in England. Never sweep under someone's feet. It causes bad luck. So when you're sweeping and somebody's sitting and you say, raise your feet so you can sweep, don't do it. That's bad luck.
Another,
Oh,
Other
don't sweep
one.
their feet.
and another one is if you touch the feet with the broom.
Right.
Oh, you work it.
Oh, yeah. I won't do that anymore. I'm always,
Yeah.
kicking Birch. Lift your feet up.
Yeah, nope, bad luck.
Uh-huh.
The only way to change it back is to break the broom.
Yeah.
No?
Break the broom.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
This was why I got the broom
Some,
so much.
some traditions say to sweep from the west to the east, then throw the dust out the back door. As
It
we
just shows
discussed
that-
when we were talking about the house witchcraft.
I love it.
You know, I always sweep widdershins from the back door. Doesn't matter what direction.
It
The
never
door is in.
ceases to amaze me how so much of the common things that we do, that 90% of it do, that it just stems from
It
witchcraft.
comes-
It's like,
it
we didn't
comes
even
from-
know where it comes. Yeah, it's like, I'm a Christian, like, yeah, you celebrate birthdays? Yeah, well, that's a pagan ritual. Yeah.
The witch's broom is used to summon winds
Mhm.
for weather magic. Throwing a broom into the air off a cliff summons the wind, while
Do you want a
burning
particular
one
charm?
stops the wind. So,
I want this key right here.
And these are things that
Okay.
rituals and techniques that have been
Thank you.
withstood,
It's all
that
that
have
it-
the time for
it's
centuries and like.
That's the best key.
I got this.
witches shake a wet broom over their head to summon storm
scissors.
or rain.
Yes, scissors.
Lay a broom under the bed for
What am I
protection.
supposed to do?
If it's a baby, a small broom, under the bed or under a baby's pillow. There's a Chinese broom goddess who presides over the weather. Her name is Sao Xing Nian. I don't know anything more about her than that, but it's nice to know we have a goddess specifically for the broom. The child's antique toy of the hobby horse is linked to the witch's broom.
Oh, yeah.
Question, what about those areas that were not of Europe that did not primarily use the Besom in that particular sense? What kind of stuff that they might use, if you know?
As far as I know, witches and pagans, they all use.
All over the world, yeah,
Yeah, you know, it may have started in Europe,
gotcha,
but
okay.
it's pretty much common practice throughout.
Gotcha. Some type of a sweeping, a shoeing,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
it's the motion.
Mhm. The straws of a broom are thought to
Did you
have
plug any of
magical
them in?
powers
Yeah,
and
that's
used,
like then.
often
Takes
used
a
in
minute.
healing spells.
Takes a couple of minutes.
Jumping over a broomstick 9 times will bring a suitable spouse within 1 year.
All right.
I'll not be jumping.
No.
Ancient Tinder.
Laying a broomstick across the threshold ensures only good visitors come by.
It's got a little place thing to hang it up by.
It is considered unlucky to sweep dust out of the door after nightfall, because doing so is going to disturb all of the fae and spirits that roam, the world at night. And
Yeah, especially.
it's, you don't want to be throwing your dust and
Like,
dirt
say if you have any
into their
kind of-
faces.
Like incense or something and you're sweeping it up, it's like you wanna powder that, cause that's like from the ritual directly, you're not gonna sit there and, yeah, it might make sense.
Never sweep on New Year's Day, something that I've been guilty of because having company, it's like quick
No.
sweep up.
Yeah.
No, don't do it, or you'll sweep away all the luck for the coming year.
And all the candles, burn them everywhere. Don't keep any candles.
If a visitor is overstaying their welcome, stand a broom up behind the door of the room in which they're being in, staying in.
I'll let you do that.
They will soon grow uncomfortable and leave. And to prevent the return of an undesirable guest, sweep the room as soon as they leave. As soon as possible after their departure. Stand a broom beside the front door to bar the entrance of negativity. Here it is, if one sweeps under the feet of an unmarried person, they will never marry.
Oh, my children.
And if an unmarried woman steps over the
Get
broom
fined.
that is lying, she will become a
Then my
mother
mom-
before she comes.
Does a vacuum count?
They used to go absolutely mad when we were sweeping in the deli. All the girls would be like, don't touch my feet, don't touch my feet.
Yep.
Yeah,
Huh.
if someone sweeps over your feet, you are in danger of going to jail unless you immediately spit on the brush of the broom.
Not in my deli.
Hey,
But no, it's a real thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
it is a real thing.
To bring rain within 3 days, dip a broom in a bucket of water into which a dried fern has been crumbled. Then hold the broom aloft, shaking the water out to
Okay.
simulate
Try it out.
rainfall. These are just some of the interesting lore that has been around for, as you say.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Oh, there's another one. Never take an old broom to a new house.
Yes, I forgot that one, yes.
Leave it there or destroy it.
Yeah.
It's better to destroy it.
Yeah, because you know when
But
somebody's gonna destroy it.
definitely leave it. If you get a new broom, you wanna use it first to sweep in, to bring in
Mhm.
luck and prosperity. Before you ever use it for any
Yeah, you
other
might find one that
purpose.
has a little bit of a bigger hole.
Yeah, it's
And I
probably
see that right
a
at the
family
bottom.
room and specifically used in family rituals kind of thing versus another one which is used more utilitarian, being magically every kind of thing. So it probably wouldn't be uncommon to find like 3 or 4 brooms in the actual house for
Yeah.
a purpose.
I have to chase them out of the kitchen sometimes.
Well, I for one have always bought it, whenever I move, I always
Yeah.
get a new broom.
Closet area.
I don't know why, but it's like, to me,
Don't know why.
I'm not sure what it means, but yesterday I caught Tarkin to somehow the you know that for Lunasa, the corn dolly, the one that made out of corn,
mhm.
may not be pertinent, but since we're kind of thinking so
So I can-
on the floor, somehow gets it, Tarkin destroyed it and started like nibbling on it. Does that kind of signify anything as far as?
It signifies cats are weird.
That's what it is.
They just like to cause
That's-
mischief.
Besom Blessing, read by Birch V. Baum. Equipment, white candle. Incense of your choice. Small dish of water, preferably water touched by moonlight. Sea salt. 1. Light the candle and incense. Breathe in deeply through your nose, as if you are meditating, and visualize grounding energy filling your body. Breathe out through your mouth, ridding yourself of all negativity. Repeat this process until you are completely relaxed and grounded. Pass the besom through the incense smoke and say, with scented air, light and free, I give you breath. Blessed be. Pass the besom very quickly through the candle flame, being careful not to set the besom on fire or burn yourself, obviously, and say, with fire dancing, wild and free, I give you passion, blessed be. Sprinkle the besom with a little water and say, with water pure I give to thee the blood of life, blessed be. Sprinkle the besom with a little salt and say, salt of earth I give to thee, roots in magic, blessed be. Hold the besom close to you, caress it lovingly and say, I am yours and you are mine, henceforth until the end of time. Life I give you willingly, as I will, so mote it be.